Yeah, some very close races to get here. See John Force, he's in the right lane. Gary Ditcham had lane choice, and everybody has been choosing that left lane that has had choice.
There's Eric Medlin. Bill?
Mike, we've talked about this a lot over the season. Team orders. John Force always says they race each other until they get to Indy. They look at the points, and then if they need some help, they make decisions based on that. We're a week ahead of Indy. What's going to happen here?
Well, it's hard to say. If Ditcham smokes the tires, which definitely could happen, the conspiracy theorists will definitely be out. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, let's give them credit. They didn't flip-flop the lanes. They could have done that. And Gary had lane choice, stayed in the favored left lane. But Gary up in smoke, and John goes 4.90 seconds. You're going to have to draw your own conclusion, folks, until we see a replay. And take a look as John will have lane choice in the final over Tim Wilkerson, and he now expands the points lead to 200.
Well, you can say what you want, but 490 would have been hard to beat anyway. I mean, that was a very good run in that right-hand lane for John Force. Austin Coyle, Bernie Federley really did a nice job to get this car down the track in that time. Over 308 miles per hour. Look at this thing. It launches. Not too much wrong on this run for these particular conditions. It kind of sashayed a little bit, but he stuck it in the middle, got it to the finish line, and into the final.
John Force, Gary Ditcham smoked the tires. You know, the armchair second guessers will have their way, but you just ran low ET of eliminations by almost 1/10 of a second. He'd have needed a cruise missile to beat you.
He had, and he's got the Jimmy Prock missile. He, for AAA and Castro, we got a job to do, and he took that lane over there. We didn't know if it was better or not. Actually, earlier in the day, we were thinking about taking that lane first session, and we didn't. And Coyle Adder hopped up, said, "What's there to lose?" And it just went. And I don't know if it spun the tires down track. I don't even remember feeling it. It just drove right down through there, and whatever, we'll take the win any way we can and let them sit by their armchairs and think what they want. It don't matter at the end.
That car was hauling buns.
You're absolutely right, Bill, and it is the low ET by, as you said, 1/10, and there's the matchup in the final. We'll have Pro Stop when we come back. So as we come back to the starting line, there is Tim Wilkerson, and he'll be in the left lane up against John Force. Of course, Tim beat John in the final at Sonoma when John handed it to him by going red. Force, of course, in his 180th career final. It's the 8th this year. For Tim, he's the best single car team out there. He's got his 12th final of his career, 3rd this year. Dave Reef
had a chance to talk with Fred Mandolini a little bit before this final. Says they're not going to do a lot to this race car. It's a car that they think that this track is coming to them now, and they're going back to the 4th qualifying session where last night they ran against Force and they outran him by 100th of a second. That's the tune-up that they're hoping will take them to this win, Bill.
John Force fouled out in the final round against Tim Wilkerson. John went too deep when he staged the car. It fouled out. When we got to Brainerd in the semifinals, he lost on a hole shot to Gary Selzy. Put the car in too deep and wanted to take a little off his reaction time so he wouldn't foul out. He lost on a hole shot. Today, beat Selzy on a hole shot. Made him very happy. He thinks maybe now, when they come to the starting line, he'll be in the groove.
Well, one thing about Memphis, guys, is that he has not won here since 1997. That's the longest drought of any NHRA venue for John.
And you notice he had lane choice, and he chose the right lane. He's the first funny car driver to do that that's had lane choice all day. The reason, because the previous round when he didn't have lane choice, he ran that great 490 pass. So obviously they're liking that right lane.
Wilkerson all over the course, and Force has win number 113 in his illustrious career, another 490. And he just keeps adding more and more to the points lead. It's now up to 220 as we head to Indy.
Wow, this was a wild ride for Tim Wilkerson. He had 300ths of a second off the start line. Both drivers went in deep. But boy, when that thing went towards the center line, now watch on the right side of your screen. When that thing gets out of the groove right there and smokes the tires, that was a pretty good move over towards the wall, and he had to get out of the throttle, which allowed John Force to get another win.
And there is John climbing out of the car. So here are the points, and you can see he's just running away now. Selzy, Bazemore, Worsham, and even Eric Medlin, all of them 200 plus.
Boy, watch John Force. This is a nice run. I mean, they ran a 490 the previous in the semifinals in the same lane. They love this lane, obviously, and for good reason. Look at this thing stuck right down the middle. John loves to run at nighttime. Nobody's made more runs at night at the match race level, and he did a great job for the win.
John Force, the 12-time champ, starting to look like one again thanks to that man there, Austin Coyle. Are you starting to feel like one again?
Yeah, I heard all the rumors, and last year I was dead, and I was starting to look like it, and this year I ain't really been on my game. I know Castro started up there all looking at me, Ford Mack and everybody in action, but Austin Coyle, he's the man. Him and Bernie, the three-car team, Jimmy Crockett, all these guys, John Medlin, my drivers, Eric and Ditcham, they make this possible for me. So, and right here's my key man. I love him. And take it, Austin.
When that guy gets a quirky smile like that, too, you know things are going good, Bill.